What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel Melody Llama, and today we're going to be having a discussion video talking about one Lord Beerus from Dragon Ball Super. Lord Beerus is a fan favorite character to many, and he's actually my favorite addition in all of Dragon Ball Super in terms of characters, locations, lore. Beerus as a character is my favorite thing that they've added. The character was introduced in the start of all this, back in Battle of Gods, before Super was even an idea, and needless to say, he went over very well with the audience. His personality was very fun, he had a lot of charisma, and more than anything, he was insanely powerful. And his design is really unique and fucking rocks, honestly. He also opened up the lore for Dragon Ball, as Lord Beerus is what's considered a god of destruction. The god of destruction's job is pretty much to manage planets on their universe. Basically, they'll destroy them if they don't deem them as useful, or they're dangerous, or whatever it may be, while the Kaioshins create. So they're pretty much balancing out the universe at all times. As a destroyer, he's pretty much neither good nor bad. He doesn't really have affiliations. Although I would argue that he is a lot more on the bad side, considering how petty he can be in why he destroys planets. His pretty much his introduction, he doesn't like food and taps the planet, destroying half of it. I don't know how that could be seen as a morally gray character. We're going to talk about Lord Beerus and his relationship with the Z Fighters as we go along, but let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. What's up with Lord Beerus, and what is his role moving forward in Dragon Ball Super? Because for a character that's a fan favorite, for a character to have so much strength, he seems to be kind of a non-factor. Or not really a non-factor, but his position is very odd. The character I compare him to is like Kisuke Urahara in the Soul Society and Bound arc, where he's so strong that he can't really do anything too helpful, or else the story would go on too easily. That's kind of how I feel with Beerus. So what exactly went wrong with Beerus' role? Well, first let's talk about Battle of Gods, his introduction. We pretty much are introduced to him as he is viewing, or at least dreaming, of the Super Saiyan God. He has this vision that he's going to face the Super Saiyan God. All Beerus is interested in at this point of the story is a good fight. And this is honestly where we get to problem number one. Beerus' vision doesn't really mean anything. It's nothing personal nor deep to him. It is just because he wants someone strong to fight. And then he ends up allowing Goku and Vegeta to train with Whis so that they can get stronger. He ends up sparing them for, presumably, the goal of fighting stronger opponents. The problem with this is that Goku and Vegeta are far too weak for Beerus to be interested in them in the slightest. Even if we go off potential, they are not the characters with the most potential. If I'm Beerus and my goal is to get a strong opponent, I would just go with Frieza, as Frieza can train and go golden and then black in a matter of no time. Gohan is also a better pick for Beerus. Hell, Broly is a better pick, or people from other universes are better picks. So I don't really understand the mindset that he views them as worthy challengers, as arcs and arcs and arcs have passed, and they still cannot touch him. I know the anime has a different continuity, but presuming that the manga is going to be adapted into the anime, then Beerus is still way ahead of MUI Goku and Jiren. So Goku and Beerus fight, and Goku pretty much questions why Goku doesn't like the power he has. And it's because Goku doesn't like that he had to rely upon it from others. Which is fine, it's a fine narrative to tell, but again, it has nothing to do much with Beerus. He kind of mentors Goku through this battle, but never really tries to mentor Goku ever again past this point. That role is taken up to Whis, and really, Beerus mentors Vegeta more, if anything. However, ultimately, we didn't know that Goku and Vegeta were gonna be so, I don't want to say weak, but people were going to eclipse them like this, so I don't mind anything that Beerus does in Battle of Gods. I thought that his role was fine. If Goku and Vegeta were far and away the strongest people in the cast, then it would have made sense for Beerus to keep them around. But as of now, I don't really see the point. But Battle of Gods, in of itself, in a vacuum, was totally fine. His comedy was awesome. You know, his jokes are always good. Where the problems really started to rear their head was in Resurrection of F. Literally, his second appearance was already spelling disaster for Beerus being a part of the main cast. This is what happens when a character is kind of a fan favorite and liked too much. So, Golden Frieza appears. So, Frieza returns from the dead and he wants revenge on the Z Fighters, and well, he's going to do just that. But the problem is that Golden Frieza is horrified of Lord Beerus. Alright, this guy, he wants no smoke with him. And yeah, Beerus kind of takes away some of the tension from the story. Now, I understand that what I'm about to talk about is more Whis than Beerus, but Whis reversing time is just ridiculous. Frieza succeeded in his plan of getting revenge, at least on Vegeta or whatnot, and really everyone if it had not been for Whis. And then Whis gives them a, get out of jail free card. And yeah, they save the day, and Goku gets to kill on Frieza, and they move on. But yeah, Beerus' role here, I didn't really enjoy pretty much at all. We then move on to the Universe 6 tournament, and this one is not too bad. We get a little bit more humanity from Beerus, as by the end of it, they are beefing basically for Earth. Champa, who is Beerus' brother, wants planet Earth, or an Earth-like planet. No, he wants planet Earth. And then Beerus decides to use the Super Dragon Balls after they win the tournament to give Champa a planet like Earth. I really have no complaints here in the Universe 6 tournament. He's still menacing, he's still viewed as powerful, although he bows down to Zeno. Pretty much everyone does, even though I'm not a big fan of the Zeno character. It is what it is. We then move on to the Goku Black Arc. And the Goku Black Arc is very interesting because they write around Beerus interfering in matters because he can't travel through time. This would pretty much mark the beginning of trying to find the reasons why Beerus cannot aid the good guys. I think by this point, Beerus is starting to get very close to the Z Fighters, for better or worse for the narrative, because now that Beerus is starting to care more about the good guys, well, why isn't he helping them? There's this, law that won't allow them to, but, Beerus is pretty much allowed to do really anything. He destroys half of planets as he wants to, he can erase anything that he wants to, so Beerus is kind of free game. So yeah, the Goku Black Arc happens. He can't go to the future to actually fight Goku Black and Zamasu, but he does erase the present Zamasu. I'm not going to get into the details of why he does this or what really is going on, because this would be a headache in and of itself, but just know that Zamasu is a threat to the Z Fighters, and Beerus erases him. And yeah, we then move on to the Tournament of Power. The Tournament of Power, he also cannot interfere because it is a tournament, and this is pretty much where Beerus just full-on becomes friends with the good guys, because they are fighting for all of their survival. They are officially a team. If Beerus' team does not win, his universe gets erased. This role is also fine to me, but again, the problems will rear their heads in the manga. But yeah, Beerus, he coaches them, and for some reason the anime wants to make it seem like Goku and Jiren have reached Beerus' level, while the manga makes it very obvious that they have not. I think that Beerus needs to be surpassed. I will get to that by the end of the video, but yeah. Tournament of Power, not too many problems either. Superhero and Broly, he doesn't really do anything, so we can just skip past those. And then in the Mororrow Arc, Beerus offers to erase Mororrow, but Mororrow merged with the planet. This is what I like to call plot-based stupidity, because the story is waiting for a moment where Mororrow cannot be stopped by Beerus in order to have Beerus get involved. Realistically, if Beerus is willing to erase a threat like Mororrow, just erase him before he merged with the planet. But no, Beerus decides that now is the time that it's enough. But it's too late by then, so it's just kind of irritating, if anything. And in the Granola Arc, Beerus is yet again nowhere to be found. He trains Vegeta, but that's about everything. He gives him Ultra Ego, which doesn't do a whole lot. But yeah, Beerus doesn't really do anything there either. So what's the issue here? Let's go back to Resurrection of F, because there's a detail that's dropped in that arc that I think Toriyama and Toyotaro definitely regret putting. Beerus ordering Frieza to destroy the Saiyans. Look, when Beerus told us that he was the one who ordered the Saiyans to be destroyed, my brain immediately went to, how is this going to come up later? What's going to come of this? And is Beerus going to re-become an antagonist? That was in the Resurrection F arc. That was years ago. arc after arc after arc came by, and that possibility became more of an impossibility. It became more of something that was definitely not going to happen anymore. And I thought that honestly they were just going to retcon it, forget it, or just, sweep it under the rug. But no, they actually did bring it up in the Granola arc, which I was very shocked by. Beerus reveals to Vegeta what he did, and it amounts to pretty much nothing. The argument or the issue now becomes whether Vegeta can live with that. Whether Vegeta thinks that the Saiyans deserve death. That's about it. I don't want to talk too much about Vegeta's arc because this is a Beerus video, but when it comes to Vegeta's arc on knowing or thinking the Saiyans deserve death or not, I don't really care for the arc. I think that it's even selfish for Vegeta to assume that he should die, considering how many times he saved the Earth. If he were to die, then the Earth would perish while he's gone, because Vegeta has been needed for the safety of planet Earth. So I don't even know why he would consider that option, especially after he's had a family, especially since he doesn't care about the Saiyans, especially since he's distanced himself from the Saiyan race decades ago. And the way it's written, I understand why Vegeta didn't care. But my issue is, why even have it? If it wasn't going to amount to this big drama or anything like that, then why even bother? Why even bother making it so that Beerus ordered that? What was really the point? Now, you could have retconned it, alright? Dragon Ball has retconned many things. You could have either retconned the fact that he told Frieza to do it, or retcon Vegeta's emotions on it and make him give a shit. You had to do one of the two because you decided to keep them both, even though you've retconned many other things. But no, you decided to keep them both, and they just don't work well together. Beerus is pretty much in a pointless role. He has no position in the story. Beerus is forever going to be taking the threat level out of the arc. He's forever going to be taking the suspense out of the arc, and he's this never-ending measuring stick for Goku and Vegeta. There's no point of comparing them to Beerus or anyone to Beerus if by the next arc we're going to be told that someone who's 50 times stronger than the previous person compared to Beerus also compares to Beerus. What I find most annoying is that they don't even tell us if Beerus is training or not, if he's getting stronger, and that's why he keeps, staying ahead of them. Which even if he did, it would just mean that there's still no point in scaling people to Beerus anymore. But they don't even tell us that. Mororrow, I think, is most annoying because he could have been a really cool reflection of Beerus. Mororrow is like Galactus from Marvel Comics. He goes on and devours planets. He goes on and does whatever he wants. The only difference is that Beerus is tasked to do so, and Mororrow is not. Mororrow does it on his own accord. And it would have been really interesting to see the dynamic between the two, and this kind of like symbolism between the two where, does it even matter? Does it matter if I am tasked to do so? Am I really any better than Mororrow? This brings me to my biggest issue with Lord Beerus, and that is his relationship with the Z Fighters makes no fucking sense. Goku and Vegeta, they're not Superman, don't get me wrong. They're not like Caped Crusaders or anything like that. But they will protect life, no matter where it is. If they are there, they are going to protect life. But Beerus does the opposite. Goku and Vegeta should not care, especially Goku, or Gohan, or Piccolo. They shouldn't give a shit that Beerus is tasked to do so, right? At the end of the day, Beerus has destroyed, annihilated, erased hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, if not trillions of lives. Beerus is played for comedic effect, but he is, quite frankly, a monster, right? Like, if we knew Beerus, if Beerus was in the real world, we wouldn't view him as this nebulous, he's alright on the weekends. No, we would view him as probably the most horrifying being of all time. And I just find it so ironic that the Z Fighters are going after people like Mororrow and Goku Black who are preaching about annihilating civilization. But Beerus has done that 50 million times over, yet he gets a pass. I do not understand how Beerus is friends with the Z Fighters, and it's one of my biggest issues with Super altogether. It's hard to really root for these good guys when they're just cool with this guy. Even planets that are violent, Even Earth has had a period where it has been violent. It's not worth destroying it. In fact, Zamasu, when he destroys the barbarians, it's looked at as a terrible action. What a horrible individual to do that. Yet Beerus does the exact same thing. So I don't understand why the series treats Beerus as it's okay just because he's tasked to. I think that Mororrow could have been very interesting in showing the difference between the two, or lack thereof. Instead, Beerus is reduced to a comedic side piece. Now look, there is one thing I like about Lord Beerus, and that is his progression of being more of a good guy. In the Battle of Gods arc, we see him destroying planets. He doesn't really care about anything. In ROF, he's looking for his own interests. It doesn't really matter. In the Universe 6 arc, he does something nice for Champa, but that's his family. Of course he's going to do that. In Goku Black arc, he actually helps the Z Fighters and destroys Zamasu. Tournament of Power, he's fully behind them, encouraging them to pick up this victory, not for only his sake, but their sake as well. And then the Mororrow Arc, yet again, he wants to help the good guys. He wants to destroy Mororrow. And then in the Granola Arc, he mentors Vegeta as personally as he can. And in the superhero movie, he is very kind to Lemo and Chilai, something he would probably never have done before. So Beerus has changed as a character. I just hate that it hasn't been viewed that way. It's almost viewed like, or treated like, Beerus has always been a good guy. No, if you were going to have Beerus go from a terrible monster to someone who has passion for others, then you should have went with that route, but they never do. I wonder what Beerus even does anymore. Because the story is scared to acknowledge that Beerus is a god of destruction, we don't actually see him do his job anymore. So what the fuck is he doing? Is he even a god of destruction anymore? And if he is, why don't they show us that? Is it because if they did show us him destroying planets and make him look pretty fucking evil? Probably. Overall, I love Lord Beerus' design, and I love his personality, and he's just a badass altogether. But he has no role left, and his role never really made sense past the Battle of Gods arc, and it almost seems like they never had a plan for him. Are we ever going to see him fight again? Are we ever going to see the rematch with Goku? Is he ever going to have anything interesting to do? Any arc? Anything at all? Or is he just here for merch sales? Anyways, y'all, that's it on Lord Beerus. Just kind of my views on the character. Do you guys agree, disagree? What do you guys think about Lord Beerus, his relationship with the Z Fighters? Do you feel like he's doing too little, too much? Do you feel like he's a good guy, a bad guy? Do you feel like he's going to fight again? Do you feel like he's going to have any role? What do you guys want him to do? Personally, for me, I would just have a very hype villain kill the guy off. I love Beerus. He's my favorite character in Super, but he has no role anymore. I would just kill him off. But yeah, what do you guys think? Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate y'all so much for sticking with me. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out.